Wake up, everybody! It's time for Endless Legend 2. I don't know about you, but this is my most anticipated 4X game of the year, easily, so I'm very much looking forward to jumping into this. Technically, Endless Legend 2 does not release until September 22nd, but I do have special permission to start releasing content early, because the developers are just feeling that confident. We're going to be starting up a proper series today because I want to experience everything this game has to offer, and I especially want to see that late game, because that's all going to be new content for me. And then we can decide if this is a true, worthy successor to Endless Legend 1. Now, as far as the starting faction, there are going to be 5 during the game's launch, which is interesting because they've only announced 4 at the time I'm recording this, so we have the Aspects and the Kin of Sheridan. We've seen them before. The Last Lords and the Necrophage are basically carryovers from the first game, which it's great because these happen to be my 2 favorite factions from the original, so I'm very tempted to play with them, but you might have noticed this little faction here called the Tahuks, someone we have not seen before. These are some lizard people who basically worship the Endless as their sages, and I don't know much about them except that they are a very scientific-focused faction, which could be kind of cool. So in the interest of doing something entirely new and unexpected, I think we're going to go ahead and play with the Tahuks. And as with every faction, they have a very fun little backstory cinematic. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but what you need to know is basically they are gazing at the stars, watching the heavens for signs of the return of the Endless, their sages who have led them to glory. They yearn to make them proud through religion and science, and possibly join them in the stars someday. Turmoil has come to Sayada, which, if you don't know, by the way, Sayada is the name of the planet in Endless Legend 2. The Auriga from the first game is long gone. In the heavens, we have seen signs of the Endless, impending arrival. Stand strong, smite your enemies, raise cities worthy of their gaze. Okay, so what do we have to work with here? I see a halfway decent amount of food and industry, which is what I really care about. There is an anomaly not far away. I like that. So if I want to place down my capital, 7 food and 9 industry is not a bad start. I don't know that I value the dust and the food more than the industry, but this isn't bad either. But we can expand in this direction. Like, just because we don't settle here doesn't mean we won't still be able to get a lot of good stuff. Before we actually settle in place, though, let's just go ahead and take a quick look around. All right, I don't see anything else. Yeah, I'm just going to settle right here, actually. It's not a bad spot. I like having all of this extra industry. I think industry is going to be king, as with so many games, and we can do a lot with it. So if you've not seen Endless Legend before, there are 5 basic resources your cities can extract. We have food to grow your population. We have industry to build units and things. Dust, which is like gold, and there's a whole lore behind that. Science gets you technology, and influence is easily overlooked, but very, very important in Endless Legend 2. We're going to use this to claim additional tiles, as well as assimilate minor factions and do diplomacy and so on. You need a lot of this in the early game, but in the late game, you may have more than you know what to do with. There's also approval, and the higher this is, generally speaking, you're going to get some bonuses across the board, so this is a worthwhile thing to invest in if you can. Now, with our population right now, we have a scribe getting me some science and some influence. I might prefer to get, let's say, some food, so I'm making up for the fact that I started with less, so we can grow in 6 turns and get another population. Or I could go for a bit of extra productivity and we could just go for an improvement of some sort. Let's go ahead and see what else we can buy. How about, right here maybe. We have access, I think, to science and influence buildings. The science wouldn't be bad here, actually. It gives me +5 science, which basically doubles my science production from the city right now. We get 2 base, +1 for being on a tile with 2 yields, +2 for being next to an anomaly. Since we're a scientific-focused faction, I think this would make some sense. So the question is, do we want to have that in 6 turns, or are we okay with having it in 7 but shaving 3 off the population? I think the answer is yeah, I'm okay with doing that. For our science, we started off with the influence and science buildings. I'm going to go ahead and work on industry and follow that up with food buildings. So I'll be able to use my industry to start making up for any deficits elsewhere. I think that's going to be fine. End the turn, and now we can start joining our armies up. And I'm going to start looking for these curiosities over here, which can give you little bonuses like that, so influence and some movement. Also, experience for your main hero, which will lead to a lot of nice benefits. Let's try heading around this side of the river. I want to find out what else is over here. What we're doing is scouting for really good locations to settle down, and also for new territories that we want to just integrate into our capital territory. So places I would want to settle down like an outpost of some sort. That's kind of what I'm looking for right now. So I see some approval stuff over here. That's not bad. I see a lot of food. Like, we could settle down an outpost over here. It's not like a massive value, but it's something. And just toss that onto the capital, and all of a sudden, that makes up for any food deficit we were having before. So we could. Let's go ahead and pick up this curiosity. Let's see what else we got. A dust-infused leech weapon. I have no idea what that does. Let's go ahead and take a look here. It is a rare accessory of some sort. Okay, so this is going to give me some extra stats for my hero, one across the board. So there are 4 stats for heroes in Endless Legend 2. We have down here in the bottom, might, resilience, determination, and intuition. And based on what skills we pick up as we level up, those are going to improve various different abilities. So, for example, find and learn. All of our units in an army get experience as we find these curiosities, and we can get more for every level of intuition and resilience, etc., etc. It can make them stronger. It can make them have more utility, whatever it's going to be. Let's go ahead and move on. We have our first story event. Okay, so this is kind of important. We actually need to come back toward the main capital over here for reasons you'll see in just a second. So with our story, I'm going to not spend a ton of time focusing on this, but I don't want to overlook it either, because I do think that the lore of Endless Legend is kind of one of its big draws. It's a very good fantasy setting, and I think the stories are usually worth diving into. Basically, what we're going to find out here, though, is that Curator Meng, who is our main character, spied a disturbance in the night skies, which basically overthrew a lot of their society. It led to a bloodless coup with him taking down Ecclesiarch Sana, and now he rules this faction. He has more in mind than just portents and prophecies. He is, in fact, a very progressive character looking to scientifically develop his people as well. So we're going to be met up here with the Ecclesiarch here. We're in need of your guidance. Sure, why not? I urge you to prepare for the sage's arrival. Cool. Consider me to be urged. No, don't dismiss this. It's very important you pay attention to the souls of our people. To which our character says, well, you're not totally wrong. Religion is going to be a very powerful force for us. Okay, fine. We will seek traces of the starfalls. So the first thing we have to do is build an observatory. This is one of the unique abilities for the Tahuk. And it's one of the reasons I need to get back over here to my capital. I should have left a unit over here to begin with. On your mountains, you can place down an observatory. And this is going to get me plus 10 extra science every turn, which is kind of huge. But also during a monsoon, instead of science, we'll get some food, and we get a lot of extra vision. We can do this once in all of our territories, I believe. So this is a pretty powerful ability, and we absolutely should be making use of it whenever we can. So I want to come over here and place down, let's say, an observatory, maybe right over here, so we can get as much warning around our capital as possible on the off chance in the future we ever do get attacked. I think that makes some sense. So this is going to get me a good chunk of extra science. Done. What else do we want to be doing? We can place down another district. We can get the workshop here for plus 5. 2 base, 1 for being on a tile that already produces industry, and 1 for every adjacent ridge or mountain, which is 2 right here. So this is actually a pretty good spot. Yeah, I'll do this. We'll just go ahead and place that down. That's going to get me a lot of extra industry. So now I think maybe it is actually worth reevaluating the positioning of my citizens. Shaving this down to 5 turns. I don't know, actually. If we do it this way, we're not going to grow at all. I think I have to keep them where we are. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go ahead and place down the observatory. We got it down. Perfect. Now we can see everything over here. Unfortunately, our efforts to locate the starfalls have yielded nothing. So we do earn the ability to build a unique district called the Holy Oculum. So the Holy Oculum is pretty interesting. You place this down like a regular district. It makes all laboratories cheaper to build in the future, which is pretty good for us. It gives me plus 10 science by default. It gives me an Holy Oculum level on the Empire. Exactly how that's going to work out, I don't totally know. We'll play with that later. And we get even more science for every adjacent laboratory. So if we build a cluster of laboratories all in this area, we can get a stupid amount of science in our capital. We'll have to give that one a go. Anyways, all right. So very unusual to receive visitors in the Holy Oculum construction site. Profane even. Yeah, I observe the sign. I want to use the Oculum however I want to. The sages told us to learn. Let's follow their brilliant example. Basically, what we're going to see here is that there is a tension between the conservative, traditional religious order and the more scientifically minded order that wants to continue pushing the boundaries. That's going to be fun for us. Anyway, build this up, and then we get 40 science, and we unlock special projects. We'll come back to the projects later. We did find a minor faction. Okay, it looks like it's going to be the, what are they called again? Black Hammers, that's right. Minor factions are going to be spread throughout the world, and these guys can be assimilated into your empire and give you some sort of a benefit. Also, more population. Also, you can train up their units. And some of these units can be pretty powerful and supplement whatever you're missing in your empire very nicely. So what we want to do is get over here probably and see if we can get a quest from them. They already have a roaming army, though. They may come and attack me, which would be very inconvenient, but I mean, we will see. By the way, There's a really good spot for an outpost over here. I see 3 anomalies very close by. It would not be difficult for me to expand and take a lot and send all of this back to the capital. So we'll get this quest going, but then after that, I think we may want to claim this. It's good enough. I'm willing to just go ahead and commit. Like, I want that. I want that badly. Fencing is done. Good. We'll be able to start getting some additional food. Let's think about a district there. I think it gets a benefit from being on a tile with food already. Also, it likes being adjacent to rivers, which is something we've got. Okay, yep, nope, this seems like a good spot. We'll go ahead and place one down there as well. So where do we want to place a Holy Oculus? If I place it right along here, I could place another laboratory to get an additional adjacency from the anomaly. And then I still have room for 2 additional, maybe even 3, but probably not, laboratories. And this could become an extraordinary science sector right along here. That's not a bad thought. I might do that. I might do exactly that. We're going to see. What else do I want to research? Well, let's go ahead and pick up Celestial Scrying. This gets me more science on anomalies, plus vision on armies, which is good when I still need to do a little bit of scouting. So do we want to fight these guys? I mean, they're going to probably fight me. Yeah, they are. If I do this fight automatically, I'm guaranteed to lose a unit. If I do a manual battle, maybe I can save it. They get to go first, so they're striking me here. Now, one problem in this game, which I have to adapt to, zone of control isn't really a thing. They're just going to waltz right around and attack my my back line. I'm just telling you right now that that's what they're going to do. So we need to be kind of careful about what we do. I want to use the high ground and the terrain to my advantage as much as possible. And I could get into defense mode. This guy might come and attack me. I bet you this guy wants to run around and attack my caster hero. So I'm just going to go ahead and do as much damage as possible using the high ground to my advantage. Let's see what they end up doing. So yeah, he's going to run around and attack me from behind. Okay, I actually got hit pretty hard here. Well, I'm not thrilled about that, but alrighty. We definitely want to kill this unit. So let's try using my range units to just... darn it. We wanted to finish it off, but we did not. All right, so that's dead. He's going to attack me. This is going to hurt. Are you going to keep attacking my same unit? You are. He's getting shield every time he attacks me. That's part of the problem. So I might lose this unit unless I really back off. I mean, there is still some zone of control. Like, if I leave his zone of control, I get attacked. If I stay in his zone of control, we could probably go around and try to flank him. So we'll do this, and then we'll hit him. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did not do that. He turns around and faces me. Oh, that's kind of clever. Until you engage him, he continues to spin around whatever his target is. So what we did is we exposed his back to me. Oh, see, I like that. All right, let's back up here. We took some damage, but now we have even better high ground, so we do a lot of damage. Okay, illuminated the foes. Cool, we're trying to apply some sort of debuffs. He's really trying to kill this unit. I'm hoping we can finish him off this turn. Let's find out. Not likely to work. I could try to run, but then I'm just definitely going to die. Oh, the flank worked. All right, perfect. We didn't lose a unit. Excellent. All right, so the Black Hammers are down. Get that XP. We're good to go. So that's how combat is going to work. And we meet the Necrophage, one of the scariest factions in the game. They're going to be fun to deal with for sure. All right, so as I said, when you meet these minor factions, you get to do some sort of a quest for them in order to pacify them, so they stop spawning those aggressive camps. Sledgehammer of the 100 would be a reward as well, good for certain types of heroes. Destroy some Gutless Bandits. Gutless Bandits are down here, stacks of 2. I do not have very healthy units, so I'm a little cautious about that, but we'll see. Let's go to my hero. We can get a level up, and that means we get some more skills. I've already done a little bit of scouting as far as what I like here. I think it's probably worth grabbing Find and Learn for the experience, but since we're already injured, let's get Shared Ward so we can grant some shields to friendly units and try to keep people alive. The less units I lose, by a long shot, that's going to be best for me. Like, I really do not want to lose a unit if I can avoid it. All right, so is this a good spot for us to build an outpost? I think the answer is yes. It's really good. I mean, this is pretty good too. This is really good too, but we can expand and take all of this. Let's just go ahead and place down the camp before the Necrophages do anything I don't want them to. The Necrophages are a very, very aggressive civ. They're going to be a problem for us. Let's get Scavenging so I can get more battle spoils and also more health and damage on non-hero units. I think that could be very helpful for me. All right. Once we get more influence, I'll be able to integrate this territory into my capital. Then we'll gain all of the benefits from what I wanted there. Let's try moving back toward my capital territory. I need to heal up so we can go and fight these bandits, because I want to finish that quest and pacify them and just not have to worry about it at all. For science, I'm definitely going to go for keystones and get the bridge and dams because we have rivers around us, so I might be able to make good use of that. I don't even know what a dam does, but it sounds like it might be great. And we'll finish off the last of the Gutless Bandits. Boom, and the Black Hammers are going to be pacified. Thank you. So they despawn any of the wandering armies. That's now taken care of. What we can do is go to protectorates. And if I'm willing to spend 150 influence, what we would do is for every pacified village under our protectorate, we would get extra damage across our entire army, which is kind of cool. Then we also have the ability to start getting Warsmith infantry units instead of whatever we are currently training, which could be good. In Endless Legend 1, some minor factions were just absurdly good. So, like, I really wouldn't be surprised if in Endless Legend that's true too. By the way, I'm looking up over here and I see the waters and there's something big sticking out over here. There's going to be some sort of like luxury or strategic good over here and I know it. At some point the waters are going to recede, so watching the coasts and getting some sense of where it's worth expanding is not a bad idea. By the way, since we have 100 influence, let's go to this outpost and absorb it into our city like so. So now that it is attached, all of these resources are going to be sent back to us. And if I want to, I could spend some influence eventually. Let's see. There we go. 65 will grab this tile as well and add it into everything this city is receiving. So, like, this is where having lots of influence is so important. We're not getting any value out of this anomaly, for example. I mean, aside from the adjacency bonuses. Like, I need lots of influence so I can grab lots of tiles. Even if I don't build on them, I still get a value. Looks like we have a special little side event, by the way. These will happen on occasion. I'm not going to go to the story of all of these. Usually you get some sort of a benefit. Some dust. We could have less defense on my army for the next 10 turns. But we would gain, what is this? Calficient Stone. It's an accessory that gives 1 might. I have something better than that. And then defensive options. I don't know what Simulation Event Effect is. This appears to be something that still needs to get fixed before the game actually releases. So I'm going to take it. I don't know what it does. Let's find out. Boom. We got... What is this? Hold on. What do we actually get? A camp? Okay. Huh. Oh. It literally built a camp over here. No, that's not good. That's a terrible spot for a camp. I don't want this here. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and reload that. That was... No, thank you. Easily fixed. I just hope they remember to do that in the next few days. All right, let's go ahead and grab the dust instead. I don't have any use for the accessory. I do want to be thinking about where I can place down a second city, though. For sure, that would be worth doing. Typically, I like building my next city like at least 2 territories away from the capital, so we have lots of room to take territories and attach them to the cities. But, I mean, maybe we find something amazing and that's not worth it. I don't know. Either way, if you find a really good territory, definitely place down a camp somewhere, and then you can figure out what you want to turn into cities later. All right, we're ready to move on to the second era. Good. Necrophage is still getting a little bit close for comfort. And because we've reached this era, we now get to have another hero unit. The question is, what do we want? We can have a Monitor Lizard who boosts up our science, but reduces approval. Okay. We can get an Oracle allowing us to research technologies from the next era. Maybe okay. Ransacking points, great if we're going to be aggressive. Diversity Champion, 10 influence income per pacified village. Yes, actually, I probably will like that. That's a lot of influence for us once we form a council, which will not happen until we get our first monsoon. So, in the second era, what do we want to get? There's a lot more structures we can work with over here, and also just some random benefits. For example, 5 more science and observatories. I mean, that could be pretty nice for us. Make it cheaper for us to found camps. Yeah, that could save us a little bit and let us expand quite a lot. Unlock a whole bunch of unit specializations once we get some resources to do so. Cheaper bribery, more building improvements. I think it actually might be worth going for the cheaper influence just so I can claim more territory. I think that's a good idea, actually. Oh, and what do we have here? Looks like our first monsoon might be approaching. All right, so the monsoons are somewhat random when they approach. You don't know exactly how many turns until the next one, only a rough range. This is kind of like the winter events from Endless Legend 1, where the terrain is literally going to change for a while, and there's going to be a lot of incentive to do some extra exploration. So let's see, these extra curiosities, these levitations just popped up, for example. We want to go grab as many of these as we can because it's usually worth a lot of extra resources. Anyway, so with our first monsoon, though, yeah, the world's going to change a little bit. We're going to have, let's say, extra battle spoils as we fight. We can't move or see as far. That kind of stuff is going to happen. Also, we then get to enact our first council. So let's see if we can appoint somebody good. We did talk about doing the extra influence. I think I want to keep that for sure. And then 5 dust per observatory, industry on observatories, or food consumption whenever we galvanize the call, which I have not done yet. Let's do industry instead of dust. I think 5 industry beats 5 dust pretty much every time. So that's now done. Good. We just killed a small minor raiding party that attacked me. We get a Cipher of Horror, which is a new skill for me, and we have a Ranger's Compass. Cool. Now, we do have a bunch of special powers as the Tahuk that I haven't really covered so far. Once we get the Holy Oculum, which I've been delaying up to this point, but we will do, once we have that, we're going to have a whole bunch of new special abilities. Every faction does have something along these lines. We also could do things like, for example, do a Tahuk Festival, which would get me 30 approval, 10 influence income, 10 science, and 10 industry. All we have to do is kill one of our pops. Which, I mean, honestly, for that much value, I think is probably worth it. Even if I lost one of my scientists, I gain more science than I lose, right? So for the next 5 turns, boom, let's just go ahead and do that. All right, so now we have very good approval, and as a result, our city has some pretty solid yields. Do you think it's worth building our Holy Oculum now? And I'm going to go with my original plan, place it right here, so we can fill out more laboratories as I desire. Oh, we found the necrophages. Okay, so they're all the way over here to the west. We need to be cautious about this. As I said, the necrophages are a very aggressive race. They may come out here and try to kill me like ASAP if we are not careful. Case in point, they did in fact find my hero over here, and now I am kind of stuck. I've got to retreat, because there is no way I can fight that. Way too strong. Bye! Anyway, the Holy Oculum should be finishing right now. There we go, and it looks like the monsoon might also be coming to a conclusion. When the monsoons end... This is one of the big changes in Endless Legend 2, one of the coolest features. The waters are literally going to begin receding. And what we're going to find is that as the water drops, new territories become traversable. So the world is literally changing before our eyes. It's an awesome feature, and I love it. So there we go. Look at all this new territory around my capital that didn't exist before. Interesting, isn't it? And it's around this time that we start getting access to things like new luxury and strategic materials, so that's going to be the next big push for us. Let's see, what is the report on the Oratorium? Looking really good, happy, okay. Let them wait. Meng's new ideas have brought us closer to the sages and 3 agents of the Assembly's traditions. Yes, science is winning! Hooray, glory to the sages! Alright, we gain access to an Empire action called Starlight, Geodissection, Esoteric Delegation, and then there are some special Holy Oculum projects. What we're going to find with this is basically we are going to have a tension within our society between the more scientifically minded and the religiously minded. In theory, they work in harmony, but in practice, the politics are complicated. For now, the quest advances saying, hey, please have 2 districts with communal habitations for extra population. Which I'll be honest, I don't really care about, but okay. So let's see what the map has revealed to us. There's some glass steel down here in this territory. There's also a new minor faction we've never met before. Glass steel very close to my capital. I would like to take this. And then, of course, there's going to be the luxury Clax deposits over here. Also with more of these factions I've never met before. Interesting. Okay. Well, we should try to meet some of these guys, find out who they are, what they want. Creepy bat people, what are you asking for? You want titanium. 15 titanium, that is expensive. That is very expensive. I am halfway tempted to say we should just go ahead and kill them instead, but that would be a tough fight right now since they do have an army. That may seem cowardly, but I'm sorry. Sometimes it's worth fighting and sometimes it's not. Well, we found something. Another couple of villages here, the Consortium, and an underground citadel. Okay. So in order to claim this territory, I think you have to actually clear out the citadel, which can get you a lot of good rewards, but they're usually a pretty tough fight. So what I'll do is actually start moving both of my armies over here to reinforce, and if we travel together, hopefully we can win this. In the meantime, what do these people want? What do they even look like? The Consortium? Okay. They are centaur women. She wants us to destroy a Consortium rival. This one over here? There's only a couple of them. Well, that doesn't seem too hard. Ooh, I got a special event here, by the way, which would trigger a battle against an elite crusher, but I could get 15 titanium, which is one of the things I need to pacify some folks. I'm gonna give it a go. Again, though, I don't want to do anything until my reinforcements are in position. Never mind, they're attacking me. But we can win that fight, so we will. Goodbye. Let's take a look over here, by the way, and see what special abilities we have with the Holy Oculum. So there's something we can do here called Star's Light. Grants an observatory a strong influence bonus, creates a called population in the nearest city. Called populations are basically our religious fanatics, and every monsoon, they're going to gain some new ability that's going to make them pretty positive or potentially negative. Also, if you have too many of them in a city, then there could be a state of religious upheaval and they'll become fanatics who try to overthrow you. So you got to be careful with this. That said, with a lot of influence, I mean, this is kind of a good idea. Alternatively, geodissection, select a territory, transform all tiles into glass tiles. What is a glass tile and why do I care? I don't know what this would do. A vitrified rock shimmer and gleam. Is it good? I mean, is it? There's also a good chance it creates a rift, an 80% chance it creates a rift. I don't know if that's a good thing for me or not. And then esoteric delegation. Send all of our called population out into other empires' cities. So this is interesting because what'll happen is I will gain economic boosts and vision for sending missionaries to other players, and they will gain population. Interesting. Very interesting. I think it might be worth trying to set up some Star's Light. Now, this doesn't happen instantaneously. It's going to take some of our science and charge up the Oculus before then unleashing its ability. So in 2 turns, then we'll be able to do this. But we get less science in the meantime. Kind of a neat little ability. Very unique. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. We found a stranger on the beast, and I can also get myself another 15 titanium. Yep, now we'll be able to pacify all of the bat villages if we need to. That's going to be pretty nice if I want to expand in those directions. I think we're about ready to try and take on this fortress with my 5 units. So we have options here. We can either plunder it to get some influence and destroy the fortress, or we can try to seize it and turn it into our camp, which in overall will save me a little bit of influence if I like its location. The thing is, I actually do like its location, so this is okay with me. We're going to try to seize it. This is going to be a tough fight. I have enough strength we should be able to win, but it's not an obvious thing to me. So case in point, what I'm going to do here is go ahead and summon a couple of ciphers of horrors here, because I find that the AI does tend to focus fire the crud out of units, and I'm hoping that by having a disposable front line, we'll be able to soften them up and reposition in a way that's advantageous to me. So let's see what they're going to end up doing. I'll bet you they focus down this horror in the middle pretty darn hard. Yep, that's pretty much exactly what they're going to do. It's actually stronger than I thought it would be. The fact that it's alive is nothing short of remarkable to me. Well, let's see if we can't knock down 1 or 2 of their units. I think the answer is yes. All right, so that dies. Cool. So you survived, which is amazing. And then I can run back here, distract you, use one of my power slash active abilities. There we go, doing as much as we can there. Then we hit you, and then I run forward and do more damage like so. Okay. Yeah, this is working, actually. Summoning these horrors is a phenomenally strong ability. That's an expendable unit. I don't care. And then I can run in here with my mounted unit, and we can try to disrupt some of their range units so they can't do much. But just by moving here, they have broken focus, and I can finish this unit off. Yeah, there we go. Okay, okay. Yeah, he really wants to kill the horror. He's going to use all 3 of his movements to do that. That was so unbelievably stupid, it hurts. So now we're just going to shred through their range. Absolutely obliterate them. Got a little bit close, but we should be able to finish you off, and we didn't lose a single unit. All right, the fortress is down. The camp is mine. Oh. Actually, we're getting some sort of a cutscene here that I did not know exists. It seems to be unique to the Tahuks. Okay, that's kind of neat. So now we have the option to go ahead and integrate the consortium. Extra dust per protectorate at village is okay. That said, I might actually value the damage of the Black Hammers a little bit more. Depends, I guess. How much do I like their units, their couriers? They got range 3 on them. I mean, that's pretty good. A 3-tile radius is all right. Yeah, cavalry range units and all that. I think I value the damage more. We're just going to go ahead and assimilate these guys. That gets me 1 more population here, and since it is of a different racial type, it has different abilities, so more industry on scribes. If we had assimilated the consortium instead, I would have had 2 population instead of just the 1, but honestly, I still think this is a completely fair trade. So my question is, do we try to make this into a new city? No, I think we go ahead and attach this to our existing city. It's It's going to have some pretty good benefits. Oh, but Suraban can't. Right, we need like another technology or something first. What technology is going to allow us to have extra territories? I think it's right here under urban planning, citizen center, one attachable territory. What about right here, actually? Lodgings does more population, invocations, emergency dwellings. Okay, no, we actually do need to get Creed. This improvement would solve the problem. Okay, so in a few turns, we can do that. Fine with me. And I think that's where we're going to end things. So a pretty solid start for us. I know we're only down to one city. We haven't founded a second yet. I still want to set up a second city down over in this direction. We're going to have some glass steel production going up soon. It is always worth trying to get some of these luxuries as well for reasons we'll explain in the future. And now that I can pacify these guys, that should be fine. But we have to be very wary that now that the waters are dropping, new land routes to different continents are opening up. And we might very well find ourselves meeting up with another player sometime soon. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're looking forward to this series of Endless Legend. We're going to be playing a proper Let's Play here. I really want to explore what this game has to offer all the way up to the end game and see if this does stand up. I'm really excited, though. This is absolutely the 4X game I've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. If you felt the same way as me, then be sure to hit that like button. Of course, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.